public education in terms of the condition of roads and bridges across the country, and also traffic safety and traffic congestion, and also how it impacts the economy. As an organization, we're supported by a coalition of manufacturing, insurance, construction, labor, and engineering organizations. Today, after I speak, we're going to be hearing from John Ravitz. John is the Executive Vice President and COO of the Business Council of Westchester. And we'll also hear from John Cooney. John is the Executive Director of the Construction Industry Council of Westchester and Hudson Valley. If there are any questions, you can indicate that on the Zoom, and following our comments, we'll take those questions. The report today, New York Transportation by the Numbers, takes a look at the latest federal data and state data in terms of road and bridge conditions, traffic congestion levels, and traffic safety. The critical finding of the report is that the trip report estimates that statewide, the cost of drivers of driving on rough roads, which is beating up their vehicles, the cost of traffic congestion in terms of additional delays and wasted fuel, and also the economic cost of serious traffic crashes is $26 billion. The trip report estimates that the average motorist in the New York City metro area is paying an additional $2,959 annually in the cost of driving on rough roads, of driving on congested roads and losing and wasting time, and also the economic cost of serious and fatal traffic crashes. The trip report also includes regional data for all of the New York State's largest urban areas, and that's available in the report. The trip report finds that in New York, 25% of major roads are rated in poor condition, and another 22% are rated in mediocre condition. In the New York metro area, the trip report finds that 45% of major roads have pavement in poor condition, and another 23% are in mediocre condition. We also took a look at bridges. The trip report finds that in New York, 10% of bridges are rated structurally deficient and in need of immediate repairs. In the New York metro area, the trip report finds that 7% of the region's bridges are rated structurally deficient and in need of immediate repairs. The trip report also took a look at the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we found that at the height of the pandemic in April, that vehicle travel had dropped by 45%. And by September in New York, the overall amount of travel was 10% down. So we were seeing a rebound in vehicle travel. And as we see that vehicle travel over the next several months, as we finally work our way through this pandemic, returns to pre-pandemic levels, that traffic congestion is a significant challenge in the New York metro area. The trip report finds that the average motorist in the New York metro area is spending an additional 92 hours annually stuck in traffic due to traffic congestion, and annually wasting an additional 38 gallons of fuel. We also looked at traffic safety, and the report found that in the New York metro area over the last 5 years, on average, 1,014 people annually are being killed. We know that when needed roadway safety improvements are provided, everything from better lighting at intersections, adding turn lanes, adding rumble strips, improving pedestrian and bicyclist facilities to keep them safer, that we would see a significant improvement in traffic safety, and most critically, a significant reduction in the number of people killed in traffic crashes. The report also looked at the critical importance of our transportation system in New York in moving the goods across the state that are so necessary. And during the pandemic, we've seen just how critical that supply chain is. Every year, $1.3 trillion worth of goods are shipped throughout New York State, the majority of it by trucks. And the latest data indicates that by 2045, that we'll see the value of freight shipped within New York increasing by 154%. As we move next year into economic recovery, as we work our way through the pandemic, investment in our transportation system is absolutely vital to the economy. It supports annually 319,000 jobs in New York, and we know that approximately 3.5 million jobs in New York are dependent on the quality of the transportation system. Finally, Addressing these challenges, it's going to increase additional funding at the local and state level for transportation, but also additional federal funding. And the federal transportation program, which is vital to supporting both highways and bridges and public transit in New York, is currently set to expire next September. So it's critically important that the next Congress put in place a long-term, well-funded and sustainable surface transportation program. Thank you. John, you can go ahead and then we'll hear from John Cooney.
Thank you, Rocky. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Ravitz. I'm the R-A-V as in Victor, I-T-Z. I'm the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for the Business Council of Westchester. The Business Council of Westchester is the county's largest business membership organization that focuses on economic development and advocacy work. And we've been very proud to partner with TRIP over these last few years to highlight the important work that they do by issuing this report. The fact is that the numbers don't lie. And the numbers in this report should be a wake-up call for all of our partners in government, both in the federal, state, and county sides of government. At the Business Council of Westchester, we have always made the issue of sustainable infrastructure and transportation funding a priority. Why? Because we need to be able to show to business leaders around the country that Westchester's roads, bridges, and overpasses are in good, safe working order. Look, there's no secret. The state is in a serious fiscal bind. The deficits that the state is going to be facing due to the pandemic are historic. And we are going to have to be creative, and we're going to have priorities in where we want to see state dollars and federal dollars and local dollars go. But we will continue to advocate on all levels of government that this is funding that makes sense. This is funding that's going to have long-term positive ramifications for Westchester County and New York State. Again, we want to be able to recruit and retain businesses in Westchester County. And one of the key things that we need to be able to show and demonstrate, as I stated earlier, is that employers can guarantee their employees that they will have a safe trip home and to work. And those manufacturers that need to get supplies on a daily basis are not going to have problems maneuvering and navigating through Westchester's highways, roads, and bridges and overpasses. So this trip report is just as important as ever as we continue to use it, hopefully, as I said, a wake-up call to our legislators in all levels of government, that as we are going through these challenging times, the funding for these type of programs cannot be lost. It has to be a priority for everybody. And the Business Council of Westchester in 2021 will make it one of our top legislative priorities as we go through this year. So thank you very much. And Rocky, I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, and then we're going to hear from John Cooney.
Thank you, Rocky, and thank you very much, John. Again, my name is John Cooney, C-O-O-N-E-Y, and I am the Executive Director of the Construction Industry Council of Westchester and the Hudson Valley. It's first off, we very much appreciate TRIP's effort here, and the information and the data you see here is provided by the New York State DOT. It is irrefutable data. It is consistent, and what it shows is that despite innovation, and when I mean innovation, I mean from design, construction methods, and materials, the state of New York State's infrastructure remains in very poor level of disrepair. And there's one real solid reason for that continued state of disrepair. It's the lack of funding. And also, to a large degree, a broken funding method. The federal gas tax has not, which is at 18.3%, has 18.3 cents, has not been increased for over 26 years. And during that time frame, miles per gallon, electric cars, etc., have diluted the amount of money. First off, inflation erodes that, and then the amount of gallons consumed through our transportation system continues to drop. Yes, the federal government and state governments likewise go into their general funds to make up these shortages, but we just have not kept pace. As you look at the report, you will see in it, there are references to, $1 of deferred maintenance now. So, I'd liken it to a road that is in fair condition. If it's allowed to get into poor or deteriorated condition, is a $4 expense for that $1 of deferred maintenance. As you look across our transportation metric, and I would speak now more visibly to roads and bridges, you can see that the state of New York is after the things that are in the worst condition, whether it's a road but they just simply can't keep up. And people who are going to work, driving to school, wherever, they drive on a local road network, a state road network, or a federal highway. They don't really care. They want to know that they can get to where they need to go safely and efficiently. And we're falling behind. Last, and again, I appreciate the Westchester Business Council's participation here, and John Ravitz. This is good. This makes good, solid business sense. The investment in transportation keeps New York competitive versus other states for jobs and people. We need to retain the businesses we have and attract more. Infrastructure matters in this. Infrastructure is a good investment, and the amount needs to be increased. And again, I thank Tripp and the Business Council for their participation and inviting me to participate.
Thank you. Thank you to both John Ravitz and John Cooney for those comments. That concludes our news conference. Again, Tripp is available throughout the day for any additional contacts from the media or additional interviews. Thank you very much.